on fire. Hey, welcome to Revue Extra. Extra. I am, of course, Troy to the Max Extreme.
I am JT3K.
And we are here giving you our spooky extra opinions today on the movie Hereditary.
Yes. The number 2 in our poll to find out what scary movie you want us to review on Halloween. Guess what? This one didn't make the cut, but it's close enough. We're going to do it close to Halloween.
That's right. I'm glad everyone showed up today on this glorious Monday morning.
Glad to see all of you sitting front row for our show, naked.
That's right. Especially you, Greg.
Yes, bowing naked in front of us without your heads.
So I'm just going to jump right into it if you don't mind, JT.
By all means.
Hereditary came to us in theaters June 8th, 2018.
Oh, this year it's going to make number 1 on your list, Troy.
This coveted summer release.
Number 1.
Well, time will
We'll
tell.
see. We'll see.
Time will tell, won't it? With a budget of $10 million.
All right.
Coming out of A24 Pictures.
Always make good stuff.
Domestically, you are really...
I'm just trying to
fishing, aren't you?
I'm coaxing you. I'm going to try and get it out of you in one way or another.
Domestically made $44 million. Worldwide, $79.3 million on its theatrical run.
Didn't make it back.
It did make it back.
It
only cost $10 million.
Oh, I thought... Why was I thinking 100? I don't know. I'm being dumb.
You're just too busy.
Man, I
fishing.
drank like 4 of these beers already. I am way too worried about fishing that I don't give a shit about facts.
Rotten Tomatoes has it at an 89%, and IMDb has it at a 7.3 out of 10, and iTunes has it at 3.7 out of 5.
Jesus.
Really weird specific decimal for iTunes.
Well, since I said the synopsis for Halloween, Troy, what happened in Hereditary?
All right, here we go.
I'll give you, since you gave me the easy one, I'll give you the hard one.
So, Hereditary is a movie that starts...
You're halfway there.
that starts with the death of a grandmother... or mother, depending on what your relationship lies.
She has grandchildren. I would consider her a grandmother.
And from there, you learn that the grandmother had a bit of mental issues, possibly. And they may, with the title namesake of this movie, be possibly hereditarily transferred down her bloodline to maybe her family.
Yeah.
And so from there, some odd things start occurring. Maybe a bit of spooky things start occurring.
Woo.
And when this movie approaches its denouement, it goes batshit insane. And then it ends in a way that I never would have ever expected it to end, ever.
Okay. I did love that the one thing you did give me when I asked you what you thought, you just messaged me that it took me on a ride, Joel. Like, you never use my name in messages, but you used my name to say that it took me on a ride where I was like, this hit him in some way. This did something. I don't know what it did to him, but it did something to him that he used my name in a message.
Used your name. Oh, I'm glad I came across that way. So, let me start out with a few things. Positive, spoiler-free.
Okay.
So what I appreciated for this suspenseful type... it's a thriller of a movie.
Yeah.
That it takes itself seriously.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, fall into the tropes of a regular horror movie where there's, jump scares aplenty. It never does that.
Yeah.
It does play a slow burn.
Yeah. And a lot of the horror stuff is played off in the background almost.
Yes. And psychologically.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to jump in like to full spoilers yet, but because of the namesake of the movie, there is a huge like kind of like exposition by I almost said Laurie Strode, and that's not right. The main character of the movie, I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
What's her actress's name?
I'll IMDb it. Toni Collette.
Yeah. So she kind of has like a little bit of an exposition dump around the end of like kind of Act 1.
Yeah.
Or so.
She goes to like a grief counseling thing for her mother, and she kind of like dumps like what her family's been through, and it's super fucked.
Oh yeah, it's like a ton of nothing but bad luck.
Yeah,
and all
like
that.
I'm surprised she even has a husband. Like if I was with her and like she dumped all that on me, I'm like, holy shit,
Yeah.
you have fucking issues.
Yeah, and her family's kind of been dealt the shit end of the stick, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, with that, you find out that there's a bit of mental instability in her family, and she also has a problem with sleepwalking.
Mm-hmm.
But then, a little farther into the movie, you are maybe kind of seeing maybe that hereditarily,
Yeah.
like maybe some weird DID schizophrenia maybe passed down to her as well.
Yeah.
Because there's some odd things happening around where you're like, oh, I can't tell if this is real or this is something that's all in her head.
Yeah.
And the psychological aspect of this movie, I thought was pretty well handled in like a horror thrill, not like in like a real life sense, but like a nice horror kind of suspense.
Yeah.
Kind of situation they had going, and the inner turmoil of like them not maybe even sensing that it could be something that's in their head, that they really see it, is kind of like terrifying to me.
Or I thought it was more terrifying the fact that it felt like it was actions that they were taking that felt out of their control.
Yeah,
like there were things where like she would describe things that she did where it's like, I was in the middle of doing this thing, and then I woke up and realized what I was doing, and I was distraught.
Yes.
I'm like, I would be distraught too if you did that.
I will say though that because it is a slow burn, I wasn't into this movie right away up until I'm going to say a jumping off point.
So you're saying you were into it?
At points, yes. But I feel like there were lulls in this.
Okay.
And I wasn't fully into it because like it doesn't really. There's not even like a lot of dialogue. It's just kind of moody, atmospheric until that real exposition dump at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, I'm kind of seeing this family go through a little bit of grief, and I'm like, I kind of need something here in order for me to really invest in what's going on.
Yeah.
I've had enough of atmosphere.
Yeah.
Now tell me what I need to know. What's going on?
A part of me wants kind of, depending on what you think of this in the long run, a part of me kind of wants you to watch it a second time, because this is my second time seeing this. I saw it in the theaters, and a lot of the things that they present without a lot of exposition that it kind of bring on to you, like I definitely was looking out for more things the second time around, because they do introduce something where it's like, yeah, this is what it is.
Okay.
By the end, so like if you watch it a second time, Jesus, if you watch it for a second time,
bursting like nuts over there,
going in a durst, I'm like a durst seizure over here. But if you watch it for a second time, like you're actually looking out for those things, and it does make you appreciate a little bit more. And there's even like themes that they introduce in the beginning where it's like, if I would have known that's what they were telling me from the long run, I would have given it more credit.
Okay. As far back as like the first act,
like
even?
Yeah, the very beginning almost.
Okay.
Like they give you small things here and there where it's like, okay, I can see.
Okay. Well, we'll see. Not that I'm not gonna give my final grade yet. I'm still gonna make you fish a little bit. But this movie is disturbing enough that I don't necessarily see me going back to just really want to rewatch it.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to feel bad a lot. So I try to not, bathe myself in this kind of emotion.
I understand.
Because the movie is dour. Like, a lot of bad things happen to this family.
I don't think anyone ever really cracks a smile in this whole fucking movie.
No. Not at all.
Everyone is pretty fucking depressed the entire movie.
Yeah.
It's just... Oh, everyone's so fucking sad.
The original cut of this movie was over 3 hours.
Holy shit.
This movie comes in at almost exactly 2 hours.
Yeah, it's a little over 2 hours.
So I couldn't even imagine what they have cut. I would assume it's more like building like character moments. Like,
maybe.
Just like talking.
I mean, there could be things that I would like to see if they were to add to the story. Just based on what I think it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, if this was 3 hours, it would be too long.
Yeah.
Too long.
It'd be a chore.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go over see things before we get into spoilers here.
I will say that the second viewing for myself, I ended up liking it more than the first time. So if you can find a way to watch it a second time, I would urge you to do so, because I think there would be things you would pick up that might help you appreciate the story a little bit more.
Okay. I don't really have anything else until we get into spoilers.
Yeah.
But I just would reemphasize that, like, I came into it with an open mind.
That's all I ask.
And I did feel like it was not up to speed. Like, it was just slow for me. Slow going a little bit.
I hear you.
And I was like, okay, like, I need something to happen pretty soon here, because I'm also watching Macy at the same time, because I just watched it with her in the room, which Chelsea walked in on the end of this, and she's like, why did you watch this with her in the room? I'm like, she will be fine.
Naked old people, gotta love it.
She will remember this. So anyway, from here on out, let's do spoilers. Would you recommend people to see it?
I mean, I would not suggest it to the general audience, but I would say there are things that you could appreciate as maybe a horror fan, or maybe someone that is a fan of just very out there forms of storytelling.
Sure. I wouldn't even say it's like, well, I would.
Don't give yourself away, Troy.
I wouldn't say it's like out there storytelling. I think it's creative storytelling.
Okay.
But it does take.
So you think it's creative?
Some points. The psychological aspect I really liked. But it is a slow burn.
Yeah.
So if you're into something like that, and you're into feeling like depressed,
if you like hating yourself,
then I think Hereditary is the movie for you. So anyway, spoilers from here on out.
Yeah.
So right at the very beginning, it kind of pans in on this miniature that Toni Collette like makes all throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And it's a cool opening shot where it pans in on this miniature of like their house into the room, and then all of a sudden like the dad walks into the room and wakes up his son.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And like all throughout the movie, she's also doing these miniatures. I'm assuming for just a client of something.
Yeah, they insinuate that she's like getting ready for some kind of art expo, because these are the most understanding bosses ever. Because every fucking time they like interact with her in any way, they're just like, take your time.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready, we'll accept them. Just take your time. Whereas like, I know she's going through a tough time, but I don't know of any kind of like art dealers or anything where it's like, oh yeah, we'll wait on the money that we on like
Right.
probably the hundreds of thousands of dollars we gave you
Right.
to get these ready. We'll wait. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We have nothing else lined up. We'll just wait. Whenever you're ready, we'll wait for it.
Right.
No, you're gonna be a dick. You're like, give us our fucking
Yeah.
art that we want.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I really thought that was going to come into play more, and it really doesn't. Like, it's just kind of a thing that she does, and also, like, I think it only really comes into play at one point in time where, like, she recreates a scene to, like, maybe get over some grief, or that's the way she deals with trauma. But, like, otherwise, like, as much as they spend or they show like these miniatures to even like have it open on one, I thought it would make like a bigger deal in the movie, and it doesn't.
I think it does. It is a big deal, but it's in the sense like she is like the way they open, they make it seem like her miniatures are kind of like something that she has control over.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they kind of insinuate throughout the movie, is that the reason she's so into them and so obsessed with them is because she feels like she has no control over her own life, so then she recreates the scene in her own image so that way she feels like she has a part in it in some way. And I think that's why they open on the miniature in the beginning, is because they show that kind of like how she has control over every figure in her miniatures, there's something controlling this family from the very beginning.
Okay.
Like, that's why they zoom in and they show like the house and the family as one of her miniatures, is because it's kind of like there's a larger force that is controlling this family, kind of like she's the larger force controlling her own miniatures.
Okay. I think it's kind of like a loose connection. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong, but just even through the rest of the movie, I was paying probably more attention to what was going on with those than I really even needed to.
Yeah, probably.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like, nothing even happened with the miniatures, really.
But they even do things with the miniatures where it almost kind of gives you a little bit of backstory, where it's like they show some fucked up things his family did. Like, they almost insinuate that the grandmother breastfed the daughter.
Yeah, that was weird. So going back to the grandmother,
yeah,
I don't want to just jump to the end here, but not a lot is known about her. She dies right off in the beginning, and you're at her funeral.
God. Yeah,
and then
I almost thought you said the daughter, but no, go on.
No,
the daughter is
grandmother.
Yeah,
she dies like right at the beginning.
Yeah,
everyone's at her funeral or whatever, and
people that she doesn't even know are at her funeral too.
Yeah,
and they're doing weird fucking shit.
Yeah, and I guess I wasn't really paying. No, I was paying close enough attention to there, but I guess I didn't catch all that, and maybe that would have been something I would have catch on a rewatch.
But I like that because it's so subtle too, where it's like you're like, if you were like someone that was related to her and you're at the funeral and you're like, oh, there's all these extra people here, like, and anything that they do in that does not strike you weird in the slightest. But like on the second viewing, and you know what's gonna happen at the end, you're just like, yeah, all these people are here, and it's feeling very weird. Like, you're catching on to, like, there's some dude that comes over and, like puts, like, shit on her lips. And there's, like, another scene where, like, the granddaughter's there, and just, like, some guy's just, like, staring at her super creepily, where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense now that I know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. And by the time it gets to that, like, near the end where it kind of ties everything all together, I have completely forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Because it does happen, like, way in the beginning. The very beginning, really.
But I like that because it's subtle enough, where it's like you're seeing it through their eyes. So, like, you see it through their eyes, they don't think anything of these crazy people showing up to her funeral, because, like, even the mom didn't really want anything to do with her.
Yeah.
It was just that, oh, okay, there's all these people here. That's kind of weird, but I literally wanted to stay as far away from her as possible because she drove me fucking crazy.
Yeah. And then the granddaughter that's there, She has like a weird appearance, and you can't really tell if there's maybe something mentally wrong with her either.
Yeah.
I think there is, but she has like the. It's gonna sound kind of mean.
Okay.
But she's got like a weird look that fits well for like a horror movie.
Yeah. She's definitely different looking.
Yeah.
I'll say.
And it makes it for like a weird, like uncomfortable situations, because she also does like very odd things in this movie too.
Yeah.
Where she like scissors off a bird's head.
Yeah. Well, I have a theory for that too, but we can get into that later.
Okay. And but it's also set up too, like from like right in the beginning, that she has a nut allergy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, make sure to say that.
That's a thing that's one of the things I have a problem with in this.
It's like the blatant foreshadowing.
Not the blatant foreshadowing, but the way they nonchalantly treat it, where it's like, if you know you have a daughter with a food allergy, why the fuck you being so nonchalant about it?
Yeah.
They literally don't give a fuck. They even like, there's even a scene at the beginning where it's like, do you have your EpiPen? No. Where it's like, why would you leave home with that? Like, that's a thing, especially when they show what happens to her, what the nut allergy does.
Well, yeah, I suppose, but I guess I could see them like, well, we just got to go to a funeral. Like, we're not going to be gone that long. Oh, why did she fucking sneak a chocolate bar in her fucking coat?
Yeah.
I guess maybe
Something
they
you
should
don't
be
know.
prepared all the time, but like,
Yeah.
I can see them not really thinking about it.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's still, I'm trying to like find reasons like to justify some of the shit they do in this, especially the thing that ultimately leads up to like the denouement of the whole nut allergy thing, where I'm like, there are so many things where you should be just a terrible person to let this happen, and let this happen to this extent where it's like you're leading to what like essentially happens to her in the long run, where you're like, this is on you. This isn't even her fault. This isn't anything else's fault. You're just terrible people that don't look out for this person you're supposed to care about. You could literally give a fuck about her. That you're not taking these measures. And you know that these measures are to this extent that you're like, you have to make sure that this is a thing that you have.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm maybe coming from it from a different perspective, knowing that I've definitely gone out of the house without a diaper bag. And then somebody takes a shit in the back seat, and I'm like, oh no, I don't have any clean diapers. That's an afterthought when I was trying to rush out. So I could see like, oh, I didn't expect my daughter to bring this fucking foreign object into her mouth where she could maybe possibly close up and die.
Yeah.
So like,
well, the fact that he's at a party where someone is visibly chopping the fuck out of nuts.
Well, yeah. So like, that was the thing too. Like, I don't think the mother, when she sent her daughter off to go with the son to like go to a party that he kind of lied about, like it's a school party. Technically, there's people from school at this party, but it's like just like a
it's a fuck all party.
Yeah, so it's like, even though it was a pretty blatant lie that he wasn't really going to a nice wholesome party, she forces the daughter to go.
Yeah,
and like there, she's kind of like left to her own devices because the
brother wants to get laid,
get high and get laid or whatever.
Yeah,
and then she fucking like ingests this piece of cake which has got nuts in it or something like that, and starts fucking closing up, and getting hard to breathe. So she finds him, and then
I also kind of think that's almost kind of up to the interpretation too, whether or not it was like a thing because of the nuts or if it was because of something else. From my perspective, I think. Okay. I'll bring it up later, but
okay. Now I'm trying to read you. I'm fishing you, man.
That's right. The fisher has become the fish.
So she starts getting going to like anaphylactic shock.
Yep.
And he like quick picks her up, takes her into her car, and like this is where I was like, okay, something interesting is happening.
And before we get into it, I'm going to tell you right now, this is I think I brought this up when I saw the movie, but when this happened, I audibly laughed in the theater, and Molly said when we got back to the car, she was like, I was legit scared of you when you started laughing at that. But I was like, how could you not laugh at that? It was so ridiculously out of nowhere.
It was. I laughed too. Because it's just like, it's so, even especially once you learn like stuff coming in like later down the line.
Yeah.
It's like such a weird, convoluted thing to happen.
Yeah.
And all these events need to take place, which seems like it's just happenstance.
Yeah.
And, like, it gets even funnier, I think, after you find out all these things. And it's like, what the fuck is even going on here? Because this is bonkers. Because she's trying to get some air to breathe.
Yeah.
Sticks her head out the window. There's a deer in the road.
Yeah, and
the
he
sun
swerves.
And it smashes her head off on a telephone
Yeah.
pole. And it's shocking because you never expect it to really happen to this girl.
Yeah, because even in the trailers for this, they kind of like front and center her as like a main part of the movie.
She's on the cover of the DVD or the whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, holy shit. They just offed like the main character of the movie, you assume.
Yeah.
And then the son is there just like shocked. And I actually really like his reaction to this.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he can't even look back in the rearview mirror at it.
He can't even wake up his parents or anything. He just goes to bed and like lets her discover it for herself the next day.
Yeah.
Which Toni Collette is hauntingly good in this.
Yeah.
Like, she disturbed me how good she was in this.
Yeah.
Like, everything she does, I'm just like, if like I put myself in the shoes of like someone that was like, she was a family member, where I would be like, I don't even know what I would do if I had someone like her in my family. Like, she's just so batshit at some points where I'm like, I'm uncomfortable thinking about what I would do with her.
Yeah.
Because she just comes off as just, she's so frantic in everything she does. And like, you feel for the husband where he's like, I love you, but Jesus Christ, what the fuck am I going to do with you?
Yeah, especially because she's already like kind of frantic and manic, and she just lost her mother and her daughter in the same week.
Yep. Yeah. And everything she's doing, it just feels like, she's trying to make up for those losses. And you're just like, I know this is a tough time, but Jesus Christ, I can't live with you in this house if you're going to be like this 24/7.
Yeah. Even to the point where he comes into her like studio and she's recreated that, like the scene where she loses her head.
And you're just like,
with the miniatures.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Jesus. Like, that's fucking fucked up, dude, man.
Yeah. And she's just so unsympathetic of her son who lived it too, where she's just like, you can sense a part of her like feels he's to blame. Where it's just the tension in this family is just like, all three of you just need to be in different rooms. All three of you need to be separate from each other. This is like, none of you can coexist at this point, because there's feelings in all three of you right now where it's like, one of you is just bound to like kill the other because you're so fucking tense at each other.
Yeah. I actually really appreciated the father character in this too. He doesn't have a lot to do, but he is that like stable point.
Yeah.
Because he's like the only other one that you know can't have like this hereditary.
Yeah.
He's like the constant.
Yeah, he's not connected to what this thing is at all. So he's just trying to make sense of it all, and he's doing it in a way where it's like, I know these people need help, but I just don't know what to do. And he doesn't want to take it beyond the help that they need. He's just trying to find that happy medium, but the more he tries to decide what to do, the worse it gets. And you can see that it's just like, I'm about ready to just leave. Like, I just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like, he looks so fucking, his face just looks so weathered.
Yeah.
By everything that's happening.
Yeah.
Like, he's just wandering through life at some point.
But he's still there to support.
Yeah. Like, he doesn't want, like, there's a reason that he loves them.
Yeah.
Like, it's his fucking family. He doesn't
Yeah.
want to fucking abandon them, but he also doesn't want to, like, condemn them to a sanitarium if he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
So he's trying to find that happy medium. Like, how do I get them in the help without condemning them to just not being in my life altogether?
So after the beheading happens, I thought the movie does slow down a little bit, because that's like the one big, I'm gonna call it like an action piece, where I was like, my blood got pumping, and I'm like, holy shit, like something's really picking up.
Yeah.
But then it does kind of slow down again and like really dwell on like the family moments and them arguing with each other, and like watching just like this kind of resentment grow in this little family unit.
Yeah.
And it does that for a while, because like it doesn't really pick up again until like it just starts fucking going off the rails.
Yeah.
And so once this this happens, Toni Collette meets up with like a person from the support group.
Yeah. Played by Ann Dowd, who's fucking awesome. I love Ann Dowd.
Okay, I don't remember seeing her in anything.
She's if you watched The Leftovers, she plays a big part in The Leftovers.
No.
So fucking good in The Leftovers, and like she does what she's supposed to in this. But like, if you ever see Ann Dowd and stuff, look out for her, 'cause she's so fucking good.
Okay. Anyway, Ann Dowd's there, and she says that she's recently lost somebody too, and she is doing this seance in order to like talk to this, was like her son or something, or her nephew.
Yeah, yep. She said she lost a son and a grandson, I think. Which when you go back and watch this, knowing what you know the ending is, you can see her totally fishing to make sure that Toni Collette is with her, like she's like connected to her, like you can see, like, once Toni Collette loses interest in her, she spouts out something that she knows she's gonna be like, oh shit, okay, tell me more.
Yeah. And from here too, you already know from the exposition dump that like her mother was diagnosed supposedly with dissociative identity disorder and schizophrenia. And all throughout the movie you get like senses that like Toni Collette's character is kind of seeing things that aren't really there, and even like a little bit of like the daughter before she passes has like little moments like that too. She's kind of just looking off and whatever. But
I love the actress that plays the daughter in this. I thought she was really good. Yeah. Especially for the thing, like the small things that she throws in there, like knowing what the ending is. Like, it's like, she's really fucking good. Like, I know she has like a certain look to herself where she's not going to be like a leading lady by any sense, but I want to see her in more shit, because the small things she does in this, it's pretty chilling. Yeah. And really good considering what the whole story is.
Yeah, I thought she was really good. I think this is her first movie too.
Yeah.
So Toni Collette goes to this seance or whatever, and because she's got this she may have like schizophrenia, you can't really tell if what is going on is all in her head or if she's actually seeing it. And I really liked that idea played throughout the movie. It's like, yeah, this could be like a horror movie where the seance is happening and like the chalk is drawing on the board and everything. But what if she's just like seeing kind of what she wants to see through like, because of like schizophrenia or whatever. Yeah. Whereas like if another person would like walk in on it, they're seeing nothing. And even like when she redoes like the seance at her house with her family, it's played off like the husband may not see it like they do, because he just wants to put it to rest right away. Yeah. So you can't tell if like what he's seeing is actually happening, or he's like, he thinks she's crazy and wants to put her, like, make her go to bed or whatever. Yeah. And this whole time I'm like, man, this is playing off really well, because I can't tell which way it's going to go. And I was into this a lot. Yeah. And it wasn't until, okay, can I tell you the point where I was just like, okay, here we go. Yeah. It's the point where they go up into the attic and the husband sees the beheaded body upstairs.
Well, she sees it first.
I know, but I thought she could be seeing things.
Oh, okay.
Like, oh my God, go up there and make sure I'm not fucking crazy or whatever. And he's like, okay, I'll go upstairs. I'll see what he goes up there. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
There's a fucking dead body upstairs. What the fuck did you do?
And they do insinuate that it might be up there because there is like a scene where like the husband's like, what's that smell? And it's like halfway through the movie.
Yeah. And so he like automatically like blames Toni Collette's character for desecrating the grave of her mother to drag it upstairs.
That's a lot of fucking work for one person to do.
Oh shit. So the only reason I find that hard to believe is like, when would she really have done that? Because she was going to those meetings.
Yeah, but she didn't do it though.
Okay. It was the other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
Yeah. that's what I gathered.
Okay, that makes more sense because like if they're just chilling all around, then that makes a lot more sense.
I'm trying to stay as vague as possible because I kind of want your idea of what you think the whole movie was, and then I'll tell you what my idea of the whole movie was.
Okay. Soon after this body is found, you find Jesus Christ. You find out that like that all the seance stuff was like a satanic like cult where they worship this
Paimon, who's supposed to be one of the sons of the devil.
Yeah, and he can only host himself in a son or a male.
Well, he can
body.
host himself in anybody, but he prefers a male because he sees himself as a male.
And like I thought that was kind of like just a weird detail that I guess I don't know. Anyway, that's not really important to me what I'm trying to say right now because then like the husband is after he finds like the body upstairs, like she's going crazy about this notebook and she wants to try to destroy it, but when she tried, like she threw it in the fire and then like her sleeve caught on fire. And that at that point, like though, like it's before the husband knows about the dead body.
Yeah.
And so I'm still thinking like, oh, she's nuts. She's just seeing that herself or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, so she asks the husband to throw it into the fire. He doesn't. So she chucks in the fire. The husband lights up.
Yeah.
And like he burns to a crisp.
That's a pretty cool looking scene, though.
Yeah, it's really
like,
well done.
This fully standing up man burning in front of somebody, and she's horrified looking.
Yeah.
Her look on her face is just absolute horror.
And from this point, I'm like, holy shit, where is this fucking movie going? Because now it's like sprinting to the end with like fucking insanity.
Yeah.
Which I would have never seen coming.
And this is after the son who's seeing all sorts of shit, like freaked out in his class and like banged his head against the desk as hard as he could, breaking his own nose and passing out.
Yeah. It's fucking nutso shit. He's like seeing like weird Donnie Darko ghost type shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Like some
here?
weird light reflections are like kind of leading him in certain places.
Yeah. So, Jesus. Once the husband burns to death, the son comes back home after he's like been knocked unconscious from or whatever. He wakes up from like being knocked out.
Yeah. And
he's got his nose all up in a brace and he's kind of walking around. And this is where it starts to get like the supernatural, creepy type shit.
Especially the shit Toni Collette's doing in the background.
Yeah, which you don't really even notice right away.
Yeah, it's so silent the whole time.
Except there is like a funny, like I did chuckle and rewind it at one part. So like he wakes up in his room and he's like kind of like looking around and there's no movement or whatever. And you see
spider crawls.
Yes, she spider crawls across nothing.
Yeah.
Like, so she's like kind of chilling up in a corner and you're like, what the fuck? But you can't really see it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see her like spider crawl, not really on anything like behind him. And like, what the fuck just happened? So I rewind it there.
Yeah.
And like, you can tell she's kind of like on wires or whatever because it looks like she'd be crawling across the wall.
Yeah.
But I don't think she is. She's just like doggy paddling in the air pretty much. And like goes out of the room. And so the son's like, what the fuck is going on here? And he ends up going downstairs where then you see her like up in the fucking ceiling again and crawling across the room like that. And like that kind of shit like normally doesn't creep me out, but it did in this.
Yeah, but I think for me it worked because it's done so silently. Like there's not really like any music playing to kind of like build it up, like the tension. It's all atmospheric and it's all just like everything she does. There's no sound to what she's doing. It's all silent. Where it's like there's something so supernatural about somebody moving and there's no sound at all. Where you're just like it almost creeps you out more. Where you could be in a room and someone could be doing every movement in every movement ever right behind you, and you could not hear a fucking thing.
Yeah, and then he end up coming face to face with his mother eventually.
She chases him, like he sees like the charred remains of his dad.
Oh yeah,
and then she chases him up into the attic,
which that also freaked me out too because like he bum rushes to the attic. Goes upstairs and locks the attic door, and she's like crawling on the ceiling, bashing her head on the fucking attic door or whatever.
Oh fuck yeah!
That fucking freaked me out.
She's like she's going like full exorcist in this shit.
Yeah, and then upstairs there are like fucking this Paimon worshippers, just these old ass fucking naked people.
It's creepy, but a part of me almost like that where it's just like there's just people scattered throughout the household that are just kind of like spectators for this terrible shit. Like it's like why would like and they're like smiling like cool like, like no, this is terrible shit,
fucked up,
and they're just naked just watching like oh all right, I'm watching history, guys.
Yeah. And so they scare the shit out of him enough that he jumps out the attic window.
No, he jumps out the window because his mom is sawing her own head off.
Oh yeah, I forgot, with the piano wire or whatever. And like just like levitating, sawing her own head off, jumps out the fucking window. I assume he dies? Does he die? Or is he kind of just out of it?
They show that the whatever the light thing is that
that ghost.
Yeah, that light thing that like keeps like showing itself every once in a while. Like it shows that it goes into him.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, he like jumps out the attic and like ends up coming back to life or just standing up or whatever, and sees like his mom's floating corpse like go up into this treehouse.
Yeah.
That is like on the property or whatever. So he like follows it all up there, where there's like a ton of other naked worshippers up there with his beheaded mother and grandmother.
Yeah,
just, like,
they're
all bowing.
They're bowing to
him.
the statue, or him even. Yeah.
Yeah, and then a crown goes on him, and like they all start worshiping him because now he's like the reincarnated like Paimon.
Yeah, but they also kind of insinuate that he's Charlie too, the daughter, because Ann Dowd shows back up, and she says, "Don't worry, Charlie, you're Paimon."
Oh, I must have missed that. So anyway, but then that's done. The movie's done.
Yep. Yeah.
And then it
so what do you? So okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I was saying. So what do you think? What do you think happened? What do you think the movie was? And then I'll tell you what I think it was.
So, I think I don't know what the movie was. I know the grandmother was a part of this cult because they lay that out in the movie.
Yeah.
And I think the whole thing was to have this evil spirit come to Earth and somehow have him reincarnate some body to just bring it to life. I don't know, just like a reincarnation of this evil spirit. That's all I think the movie was really about.
Yeah. Okay.
But the only thing is, like, I'm glad I didn't see that coming at all in the movie, but at the same time, it's so different from where it starts.
Yeah.
That I'm like, I don't know if I like that huge juxtaposition in the movie or not.
Okay.
To me, I wasn't, by the time it got there, I wasn't looking for that.
Yeah.
To a resolution of what, like, was already kind of going on.
Mm-hmm.
It went completely, like, left of center.
Okay.
But I liked it. But I think I would have liked it more if maybe it was in a different
was just crazy.
movie. Yeah. Like, it was so much of a slow burn, and then it was like a race to the end that I'm like, I don't know if I appreciate that as much.
Yeah.
Go now. You go.
You do your thing. So I was befuddled by this movie when I first saw it. And I almost kind of felt the same way that I think you feel now the first time I saw it, where it was just like I was trying to think back to things to try and justify why things happened, and I just couldn't piece it together enough to really like it. And this second time around, especially, I even after I saw the movie, I went and watched YouTube videos even to try and see what do people think, what do they think happened, especially ones that they liked it.
Yeah.
What do they think happened? And a lot of the things that I was clinging to watching it the second time around were based off those YouTube videos, but I don't completely agree with the things they said in that, but it was enough of an explanation where I'm like, okay, I can kind of piece together what I think the director was trying to get to with this, and I like it a lot more the second time around than I did the first time.
Okay.
So, what I've pieced together was the grandmother is the wife of Paimon.
Okay.
And so this demon's been passed down from generation to generation. And the husband died unexpectedly. I can't remember what happened to him. I know that Toni Collette brings it up, but he died unexpectedly. And the grandmother is the wife of the demon. She didn't marry this man, she married Paimon when she married him. Because they even have a scene where it's she's dressed in a wedding gown where they're raining coins on her in that photo album or whatever. It's some kind of ceremony or whatever. So after he died, she kept badgering Toni Collette to have children because she didn't want to have children, which explains why she was a bad mother, because she was I just don't want to have kids, and the grandmother keeps pestering her to have kids, so she finally has a son, which Paimon is more towards men, but then she was she hates her mom so much that she doesn't let him near her. And then she has a daughter, and then she keeps badgering him. So she's here, take my daughter then.
Yeah.
So then daughter becomes the rightful heir to being Paimon.
Okay.
That's why his name's Charlie, because the mom named her.
Okay.
He wants to be a son so bad that even if it's going to be in a woman, it's going to be a woman with a man's name.
Okay.
So she's going to be the rightful heir to Paimon. So when the grandma dies, who was the host for him up until when he was going to pass on, he came in the form of a pigeon. That's why the pigeon ran into the window, and she cut the head off.
Okay. Because
the only way for Paimon to leave a body is if the head gets cut off.
Okay.
That's why the grandma's head's cut off, and that's why she cuts the pigeon's head off, and that's why Toni Collette cuts her head off at the end.
Okay.
So she cuts the head off. And then they even have an article in the book that Toni Collette reads where it says someone has to be at their most vulnerable in order for Paimon to possess them. Which so that's why I'm wondering whether or not the whole thing at the end was the actually nut based, or if it was him trying to possess her, because there's a lot of weird instances in the movie where people are kind of choking and they do weird stuff, and then it just kind of ends where it feels I think that's when Paimon tries to make his big break, and it doesn't happen, so then he bails.
Okay.
There's even a scene in there, a weird scene in there where after the sister dies, where he's just kind of staring off into the distance, and then he gets this weird choking spell, and then it ends, and then even when he's in that classroom and he bangs his head on the desk, he's got his hand raised and he's kind of having a seizure, and he's doing that choking there too. Yeah. I think every time someone has a weird choking spell, that's Paimon trying to possess them to see if he can get in, but then he can't, so then he bails real quick.
Okay.
So yeah, and I think the whole instance where she gets beheaded, I think, was set up by Paimon, because even when he's driving to the party, they zoom in on that pole and they show his emblem on it.
Right.
So I think that's where it's like the whole plan was for him to be in Charlie from now on, but then he just kind of like makes an audible where he's like, "No, fuck that. I want the son."
Okay.
So then he sets the pole up and then he sets up all the scenarios so that he can behead her, and then he can get back out and then go and possess the son. Because I think he's still linked to her in some way, but he's not fully possessed her yet.
Okay. So does he need a physical body to do all of these things?
I don't think so, because I think when Ann Dowd brings Toni Collette over, he's in the chalkboard, and then he gets it so that she can put him in the notebook that Charlie gives. Okay. Because that's the whole seance thing. Like, she pushes her to do the seance at her house so that he can put Paimon in the notebook and makes him more readily available to the family so he can fuck with them more.
Okay. The only thing is, like, the beheading scene was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But, like, it seems like I'm not doubting your whole theory because I think it all lines up.
Yeah.
It just, like, to behead this girl seems pretty a convoluted plan to do so. Like, more so even than, like, it's not as supernatural, really, whereas, like, Toni Collette is, like, beheading herself as, like, she's floating in the air.
Yeah. I'm thinking, like, my whole idea was that because Charlie was the only sibling that the grandmother was readily available to, that they did, like, a whole bunch of, like, shit with her to get it so that she can be, that her soul is the only thing readily available to be possessed by Paimon.
Okay.
And then, like, after a while, Paimon was like, "No, fuck her. I don't want her. I want the son." So then in order to possess the son, Charlie has to possess the son too. That's why Ann Dowd calls the son Charlie at the end.
Okay. Because
he can only possess Charlie, but Charlie has to possess the son in order for him to possess the son.
Jesus.
Yeah, it is convoluted as fuck. But, like, even down to, like, the thing that I hated the most when I saw the first one was the whole scene when Toni Collette tries to toss the diary in and she catches on fire, but then when she tosses it in again, the husband catches on fire.
Uh-huh.
And then this time around, I liked it because I came to the conclusion that when in the book that she reads, where it says that Paimon can only possess the most vulnerable, uh-huh. That means you pretty much have to lose the will to live in order for Paimon to possess you.
Uh-huh.
So when Toni Collette tosses the diary in, which is what Paimon is in at that point, he sets her on fire so that she pulls it out, so she saves her own life.
Uh-huh.
But then when she tosses it in again, then the husband is like there in the room, so he sets him completely on fire. It's like a blitz in a fucking football where it's like, uh-huh. This is all or nothing. I'm gonna set this dude on fire. If this doesn't make her lose the will to live, nothing will, and then I'll just die. Uh-huh. But he does it. She sees her husband burning in front of her. She loses the will to live. Then he can possess her, and now he's still alive.
Okay.
And that's when he jumps out the window. When the son jumps out the window, he loses the will to live, so he can possess him.
Damn.
Like, that's his whole thing.
It is too late, and I am too drunk.
Yeah.
To, like, fucking even go on about this.
It's convoluted, but I liked it the second time around. Even I appreciate it because there's a scene, like, not even 5 minutes in, where the son is sitting in on a class, and they lay it almost completely out for you whether or not you're gonna like this movie, because the professor has this lecture about some Greek story. I can't remember what it is, but it's like this story about this family that's being pushed by this outside force, and then he asks the class, like, do you think this is effective or not in the plot? And they legit have the two viewpoints where, like, one guy's like, no, I don't think it's effective because you can't really feel for the family if they're being pushed by an outside force, and then someone else is like says, no, it makes them more sympathetic because they have no control over their own free will. So it's like, depending on which student you agree with, depends on whether or not you like this movie.
Okay.
So I like that he threw that in there where it's like, if you agree with this student, you're going to fucking hate this movie. If you agree with this student, you're going to like it.
Okay.
And I thought that was really interesting.
Okay. Well, all in all, I didn't end up hating this movie.
Okay.
But I probably do feel like how you felt the first time you did see it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's probably still where I'm at.
Yeah.
I don't know what that ranking is for you, but I'm, along with that, and like the odd juxtaposition of like, because it does go batshit insane at the end.
Yeah.
Where I feel like, just personally, in my opinion, I don't think it like fits with what was set up, that I expected to be set up in the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe on a second viewing, my opinion will change.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd probably give it maybe, I don't know, C+.
Okay.
C+?
No,
yeah.
that's good. I give it about a B+.
Okay.
Like there's still some things in that rub me the wrong way, where it's like I still can't get over the fact that you're a mother and you know that your daughter has this violent reaction to nuts, and you're still like, no, we don't need a fucking EpiPen, or we don't need anything to make sure that if my daughter dies, if my daughter's on the verge of death, I have this one thing to keep her alive.
Yeah.
I can't see a parent being like, fuck it, let's not have it today. Especially if she's gonna go outside of the house without her, and they even like, she's even putting herself in situations where it's like, is that nuts in it? Well, I don't know if that has nuts in it. We better do this. Like, no. If you cared about your kids, you would at least have it in the back of your mind that I need this EpiPen.
Well, being a father, I feel like that's an odd hill to want to die on.
But if it's something where it's like if your kid's life is on the line,
listen,
you would keep it in mind.
Shit happens.
All right, fair enough. I'm not a parent.
Hereditary.
Yeah.
I really wish Dinosaur Neil wasn't such a prick and was.
I know. I really want his take on this. I'm really curious what he thought of it.
I keep trying to see if he responded to our comments.
God damn it! I know. I'm really curious what he thought of this.
Oh well, guess we'll never know.
We'll never ever know.
We're
gonna kill him before he tells anybody anything.
Yeah. Well, if you want to let us know, JT, what you thought of Hereditary, where can they do that?
Find me at Bucky for everyone on Twitter, also Bucky for everyone on Instagram, and hit me up Bucky for everyone on Snapchat. Troy.
You can chat with me about Hereditary at TroyTheMax on Twitter. You can chat with us both at Revue Pod. You can listen to this on Facebook, so you can start a conversation there if you would like. People have done that in the past, and we've responded aptly.
Yes.
If you're listening to a show right now, you're doing something correct, but you can listen to a show of ours on a multitude of platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Stitcher, we're on Spotify, we're on everything, babe. So hit us up there, and if you want to write into the show, you can do so at reviewreviewpod@gmail.com.
Yeah.
What's coming up on Thursday, JT?
Join us next week when we do our
winner.
Later this week. Sorry, I forgot it's Monday.
Yeah. Yep, it is.
It's Monday today.
It's Monday.
Join us later in the week when we cover the winner of our horror poll, when we do the 2004 remake of Dawn of the Dead.
Spooky.
I talked to Molly Pop about this earlier today. She said this is one of her favorite movies.
Oh, my.
When she was growing up.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, she fucking loves this.
I haven't seen this in probably 10 years, maybe?
It's a pretty iconic film. I think it's the movie that really sparked the whole zombie craze.
I agree. So, we'll get into that.
And Zack Snyder directed it.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get into that all up on Thursday.
It's going to be an interesting watch, I think.
I think so. I really think Season of the Witch would have been maybe a more interesting conversation.
Well, Troy, it was dead last in the poll, so be happy.
I just wanted to throw my opinion there because it was my pick. God damn it. Anyway.
It was dead fucking last, Troy. You happy?
Fuck all you listeners. You don't know what's good. You want to watch Beer Fest, you fucks.
You motherfuckers want to watch Beer Fest.
Anyway, so join us on Thursday. We'll get into that, and then we'll do some more spooky stuff to end out the end of October.
Oh, yeah.
But until then, I've been Short of the Max Extreme.
I am GT3K.
And we